We are back inside the headquarters. Another week done for the Northeast Generals. My name's Rory McGorn, and this is the 9th official episode of the Debrief, the official podcast of the Northeast Generals. And a great show once again for all the Gens fans out there. We'll recap the weekend that was against the Danbury Jr. hat-tricks, some good, some bad. We'll be joined by the newest commitment going to Stevenson University. Jackson Rutherford will hop on the show this week. And then, of course, we'll look ahead at what's to come, but we'll do it in a little bit of a different way because just 4 games remain for the Northeast Generals. They still haven't officially clinched a playoff spot. And we're going to take a look at all the upcoming games and the schedule ahead for all the teams that can still juggle around in the standings that are near the Northeast Generals and try and take a look at, if this happens, where will the Generals be and what can they do to clinch? They have 2 big games coming up against Elmira. Right now, the magic number for the Northeast Generals is 4. So a win and a loss in any way, or 2 wins by the Gens, and they will officially have locked up that playoff spot. But that's not all they want. They could still catch Maine, they could still catch Jersey, and still have 8 points available for them. So that's how we're going to wrap up the show, kind of looking at what ifs and what can be's for the Northeast Generals. But first, of course, let's take a look at all the scores from this past weekend from Friday and Saturday night in the East Division. All right, so Friday night's action only featured 8 out of the 10 teams in the East Division. The Northeast Generals, this game, well, we'll break it down, and it's not going to be pretty because it wasn't on Friday night. A 4-1 win for the Danbury Jr. hat-tricks in probably, if not the worst, it was the top 3 uninspiring performances for the Northeast Generals, trying to snap at that time a 3-game losing streak. It fell to a 4-game losing streak on Friday night in Danbury. The Maryland Black Bears, they're first place in the East Division. It's going to have to roll through Maryland if you want to get to the finals. And they picked up a 6-5 victory over the Philadelphia Rebels. New Jersey Titans, hot as of late, a 4-2 win over the Rochester Junior Americans. But the Maine Nordiques shut out the Elmira Aviators. So on Friday, nothing really changed in the standings. But when we go to Saturday night, there's a couple of games in here that you're just going to have to disregard just based off of start time. So the Midwest game between Springfield and Wisconsin and the South game between Shreveport and Odessa. Good for Wisconsin and Odessa, but doesn't mean much to this podcast. Maryland Black Bears, another victory, 5-3 up on the Philadelphia Rebels. Huge bounce-back game. And probably, you say must win, you say it in January, you say it sometimes in February, you might even say it in October or November. But this game for the Generals had to have been the most must-win for them. 6-2 victory. They get the job done. As we said, we have highlights coming up, and we'll break it down a little further. The New Hampshire Mountain Kings against Johnstown. They played Saturday and Sunday. This win by New Hampshire on Saturday, I believe, stretched their winning streak to like 7 games. A 5-4 victory for New Hampshire over Johnstown, who is trying to get back into the playoffs. They need to leap either Danbury or the Generals. Those are the 2 teams that they can catch right now. The New Jersey Titans, another victory over the Rochester Junior Americans, 5-4. And the Elmira Aviators, they bounce back and pick up a 4-1 win over the Maine Nordiques. So before we break down the games and get into the highlights, we'll quickly go into your standings. And that win by New Jersey, paired for the loss to the Maine Nordiques, has New Jersey now jumping up ahead into 3rd place. And now 4 teams following this weekend are clinched for a playoff spot. Maryland has been for a long time. They picked up, their 48th victory, I think that says, locking up the division, locking up the conference, and will be first place in the East. Rochester will be second place in the East. Unlikely, actually not possible, that New Jersey, they only have 3 games left, 6 points possible, so they can only get to 71. So the 2 teams with the bye is Maryland and Rochester. The New Jersey Titans leapfrog Maine into 3rd. The Maine Nordiques in 4th now with 64. And the Northeast Generals, well, without that victory, they would have been in 6th and just 3 points up on the playoff line. Really looking back at Johnstown in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. But they don't. They bounce back. They win 6-2. And now 3 points clear of Danbury. And this magic number that we talk about is the Northeast Generals clinching the playoff spot. They need 4 points. So Johnstown with 4 games remaining and 55 points can only get to 63. That's the most they can get in the remaining games. And the Northeast Generals, if they can get to 64, that would be a clinch. So obviously they win 2 games this weekend against Elmira, it's over. However, if they win 1 game and get to 62 and Johnstown loses a game, that will equate to the magic number of 4 as well, because then Johnstown in just 3 remaining games can only get to 61. Northeast Generals will have 62 points. So they need a win and a loss, or 2 wins will do it themselves, but the magic number for the Generals now is 4 points. They obviously aren't locked into 5th because they can catch Maine, they can catch New Jersey, but also Danbury can still catch the Generals and force them down into 6th place. New Hampshire is not mathematically eliminated. Elmira and Philadelphia, if my math is correct, not yet, because they can catch Danbury, but 1 loss or 1 win and it's over for Elmira and Philadelphia. So there's are your standings after 55 games of the regular season, as we'll bring it back into the headquarters and now kind of talk about the weekend that was against Danbury. All right, so the Northeast Generals, this weekend against Danbury wrapped up another season series. It was the 8th game against the Danbury Jr. Hat-Tricks, or 7th and 8th, I should say, this season. And the 7th one, well, we kind of said it, for lack of a better word, just it was very ugly, and all the players know it, all the coaches know it. Talking to Brian Erickson prior to the next game on Saturday night, there was really no positives to pull from it, because it almost looked, not only were they uninterested, but so discombobulated in a lot of the things that make them a good hockey team. Their passing in breakouts, their passing percentage might have been sub 10%. Everything was 2 feet ahead or high in the air, 3 feet behind. They couldn't connect on passes. They couldn't get to the front of the net. They didn't outshoot Danbury. And when the Generals, over their last 8 times outshooting their opponent, have a 6-2 record, they've been firing a lot more towards the net, causing a lot more havoc for opposition goaltenders. It's kind of put them on, 4-game winning streaks, getting for at one point above New Jersey in the standings. And then this 4-game losing streak that materialized, capped off by a really, really tough loss against the Danbury Hat-Tricks. But couldn't get to the front of the net, didn't put a lot of traffic towards the net. Even when they did, John Dukarich, the Hat-Tricks goaltender, was there to turn it aside quite easily, and no one really there to jump on rebounds. Without poo-pooing on the team too much, they just did not have any jam in the game, almost like they were kind of playing that we saw the Rochester game a few weeks ago when, half their team had the flu. It looked eerily similar to that. Just not a lot of energy on the bench, not a lot of translating energy on the ice, and a really frustrating game to not only call, but I'm sure to coach and to play in and to watch. However, though, that one led to a 4-game losing streak. The Northeast Generals' longest losing streak in the season was 4 games, the very first 4 games of the regular season. So they never did it again until 50 games later, in game 54, where they lost their 4th in a row. They went into Saturday, and we talked about this when we showed the scores, that this might have been the most must-win of the season so far. If you lose that game, you have now lost 5 in a row with 4 games remaining. You're feeling the pressure. You're kind of reeling at the wrong time when you want to be projecting upwards. You're going the opposite direction. You lose your 5th place spot, now fall to 6th, and now you're 1 team passing you away from being out of the playoffs. And what we saw on Saturday was the complete opposite. Once again, outshot their opponent. They were a little bit more quick with decision-making. Their passes, their breakouts were crisp and what we're used to seeing, and also flustered Danbury's on theirs, because Danbury moved the puck with ease so well on Friday night. There was no Generals really jumping up into lanes or blocking up at the lines. And then on Saturday, we saw that a lot more prevalent in terms of the Generals just making it difficult for the Danbury Hat-Tricks to have any success. They had a 5-1 lead at one point, 3 goals in the second period. The second period's been their best season all season long. It's the only period where they outshoot their opponent, and they have about a plus 14 goal differential, I want to say, now in the second period. But a complete chapter switch from Friday to Saturday, which is, what makes good teams. If you have a bad game, if you're in a bit of a funk, can you get out of it, and can you, keep propelling forward, which we're going to see this weekend in the right direction. The Generals all season long, I believe, have showcased that their ability to do that, never, losing more than 3 games outside of the first 4 games, and then just these most recent 4, 51-54. So a 6-2 victory was the finals. Keegan Wilson in net. Now he's above 500 in his rookie season with an 8-7 record. A couple, I think, an overtime loss in there as well. But he was really, really good. An unbelievable save in the second period for Keegan Wilson. It seems like he makes one of those every time he's in the net. Didn't play for the last 5 games, but when he came in, he didn't look rusty. Really calming. Now picking up his 8th win of the season. Pair of goals for Rich Rusarito, who was held off the score sheet a couple games in a row prior. So he now back up over a point per game. Logan Poulin, I believe, a couple assists. The first line was called upon to take, not a step up because they've been playing well, but the Generals need to lean on them while they're waiting for some of these injured bodies to return. And on Saturday, they played extraordinary. Jackson Rutherford is another story who we'll talk about, was goalless throughout 54 games this season and then had a multi-goal performance. So we're going to ask him about that coming up a little bit in the show. So 2 goals for Jackson Rutherford, matches his season high from last year where he had a pair. I don't think he scored them both in one game, so that's probably his first multi-goal game in the North American Hockey League. But a big bounce-back victory for the Northeast Generals. They keep that 3-point gap above Danbury, actually got 2 points closer to Maine, or 2 points, regained the 2 points. They lost it on Friday and then got it back on Saturday as Maine won and lost as well. But just what you wanted to kind of see for the Northeast Generals as they have 4 games remaining, and you can't go into a 5-game losing slump, which then you get a really tough Elmira team. I know they're out of the playoffs, but playing for jobs next year, coming in back at home, the pressure just kind of melts off. Not that it's not there, but it melts off a bit with that win on Saturday night. So that's kind of my takeaways from the 2 games, and now let's take a look at the highlights from both games back to back.
In, trying to go back door for boring save, rebound off the pass. Not 19, that's 10. Tough to see those numbers. But Walters was leading the line, I thought for a second. Generals hung off a shot, blocked away by Dukarich. Hat-tricks have Elke all the way up and is able to find him with Zabrowski. Elke in, backhand score! Kai Elke on the break point where it's Cody Moyer. Moyer at the point, shot, score! Cody Moyer with the boards. Ula's in his skates. Rutherford gets back to it. And here's Luco at the far boards. Luco turning in front for Zelinskas. He scores! Not the press box. We're in the press box, but the luxury boxes. Here's Galvin entering the zone. Stops to the middle. Spungen in. Shot, score! Matt Spungen on the works it to the point. Luco fires one. That's blocked. Here comes Gibbons on the block. Andrew Gibbons has Kelly streaking. Gives it to Kelly. A shot. He scores. Tyler Kelly. Pass that Dabrowski made here through the stick of Vinny Ipri. Evading the check of Montaldo. Then Elke just had to tap it home. And the Hat-Tricks get their response. It's a 1-1 game here. It's still free. Ipri comes away with it. Met there by Michaud. Ipri still has it. Vinny Ipri skates low, save made, Dukarich the rebound, he scores! Vinny Ipri followed up his own. Kelly works it in front for Hudloff. Good work by Vanderroos to take him on the boards. Here's Hudloff to the back door. Dukarich to save, puck is free, they score! Rutherford was in, 3-1. Now here is Poulin, run into by Judge. Logan Poulin in front, they score! Rusarito! 4-1 Generals. Luco around the point. Rutherford fanned on it. Put it on a hard shot. They score. Player was down the corner, and Rutherford with his 2nd goal of the night. Galvin threw it on through the traffic, went wide. Zamochuk gives it. Galvin lets it go. Scores! Ludovic Galvin makes it 5. Takes the ice for Elke. Tried to get to the middle. Came out of the zone. Bartkowski has the empty net up ahead for Rusaretto. Poulin to Rusaretto. He scores.
So yeah, it was just decisiveness, execution, and energy for the Northeast Generals that was lacking on Friday night and was prevalent there on Saturday night. You take a look at Jackson Rutherford's, both of his goals. The puck's got to get to the front of the net. It's quick decision-making by Tyler Kelly along that wall pinch. Not really a pinch. He's not a defenseman, but he's driving in. He's outworking his man. He finds that puck. He takes it down low. It eventually works out to the front of the net. And then a defenseman, Jackson Rutherford, goes to the hard-to-get-to areas. Generals couldn't get there on Friday night. Saturday, he goes there, gets rewarded for his first of the season. And then his second one, even though he fans on the first shot, that actually kind of froze John Dukerich, I believe, the netminder for Danbury. He doesn't panic or doesn't waste time and throw it away. He just takes the second shot towards the net and gets rewarded for it. So, the Generals, obviously, you want to win both games. They get a weekend split, but they stop the 4-game losing streak and kind of just get that alleviation of pressure heading home. Now with their final 4 games of the regular season, all at home, all at the Canton Ice House. Their road record of the year finishes 15-10, 3-1. So really, really impressive on the road. Now they're going to try and cap it off at home because they don't know if they're going to be, well, first of all, if they're going to be in the play-in round. They haven't clinched yet, but it's certainly unknown if they're going to be a road team or a home team because all 3 games will go to the higher seed. There isn't back and forth in the play-in round. It's 3rd and 4th seed are getting all those 3 games. So the Generals still trying to catch either Maine or Jersey and get into at least 4th place so they can host those games. It very well could be 7 straight games in the Canton Ice House if they can get this success on Saturday translated into the Elmira series. So we spoke about Jackson Rutherford and his 2 goals. Now we'll speak to Jackson Rutherford about his 2 goals and, of course, his commitment for one of the great graduating, age-out players of the Northeast Generals. Here is Jackson Rutherford.
All right, Rory McGoran back here on the Debrief now. Very pleased and happy to welcome in graduating defenseman, veteran defenseman, Jackson Rutherford with the Northeast Generals. Jackson, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so this weekend against the Danbury Jr. Hat-Tricks, 1 loss on Friday, a really good bounce-back win on Saturday. Before we get into your, individual performance, especially on Saturday, just want to kind of get your feel on how you thought the team performed and just kind of, talking around with the guys and the coaches on what you guys felt you did on Friday and then on Saturday this weekend.
I think the main thing was consistency. I think we got our forecheck a lot better on Saturdays. I think on Saturdays we always play better. I feel like we had a better structure, stick to our structure way better on Saturday, and just played a full 60.
Was Friday, it didn't seem like it was a lack of energy. Just kind of walk me through because, it was obviously not probably your favorite game at all. The team lost 4-1, but, did you kind of go back and look at it as a team or pick apart of what you needed to do better on Saturday? You mentioned, consistency, but what really was it on Friday?
I feel like it was more not really a routine. I feel like traveling up same day is always tough. You get up in the morning, we didn't skate that morning. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just everything fell out of whack a bit. But I feel like coming to the second game, we just had a great routine, got dialed in, had some good talks before the game about what we're playing for. So, I think it was a great bounce-back game.
Do you look at the standings quite often? Is that something you try to block out, or are you a guy that wants to know exactly what every team does and where you are about in clinching the playoffs?
I think it's fun to watch, but I don't really think about it too much. I just try to go out and play hockey, just have fun.
I got you. So Saturday, yes, 6-2 victory. You get a pair of goals.
Yeah.
Obviously, your first 2 of the season. Yeah. So what did it feel like getting the first one out of the way?
First one was awesome. I don't really think about goals too much. I don't really let it eat away at me, or I don't get too rattled about it. It just felt really good to score the first one for sure.
So I guess you kind of answered it. There was no really, you had a pair of goals last year.
Yeah.
And obviously, a good amount of points this year, just all coming as assists.
Yeah.
Was there any time where you were like, why isn't anything going in? Was there anything that was weighing on you throughout the first 54 games?
No, not at all. I just know that's not my game, and I don't get mad if I don't score. I get mad if I don't get opportunities to score. But as long as the opportunities are there, I can't get mad at execution, because then when I get mad at the execution, then I just kind of spiral down. So as long as the opportunities are there and I'm just focused on the process, then I'm not really worried about anything.
And the second goal, because when I was breaking down the games in the first segment, I was saying that the Generals, when they're on their game, they're just more decisive. They're
Yeah.
they're obviously execute more, but they make those plays that we've seen. They make them quick and they're strong with their decision making. And that's what your second goal, I believe, was as well. You fan on the first shot, but don't get into kind of a panic mode. You throw
Yep.
it right back towards the net. Is that kind of preached by the coaching staff? Like, guys, we have the X's and O's. We just need to make that decision quicker and make it more, executed more correctly.
Yeah, I'd say that's really emphasized. I'd say pucks north is the main thing. Like the second we start trying to take pucks back and go east to west, that's kind of when we fall out of our structure. But when we just try to move pucks quick, get it up, just get on our forecheck, and stop trying to mess around with the pucks and just kind of just keep it simple and north, I think that's when we have the most success.
What has this year been like? Playing in these meaningful games, obviously with the team last year, but by this time, mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Just in your graduating year, getting the opportunity, the minutes that you're getting as well, and these games are got to be fun to play in.
Oh, it's the most fun. Like nothing but positive things to say about this year. Playing for more. Obviously, last year was important, but like it's kind of like brings everything down when we're not in the playoffs. So when we have meaningful games, there's nothing more important, nothing more fun. I love playing close games. Love playing these meaningful games. So yeah, nothing but good things about this year.
Big reason why I wanted to bring you on as well is your commitment to Stevenson University. Congratulations, first
Thank
of all. Obviously, I want to talk about the excitement level and just kind
you.
of what it means to you. So I guess we can start there. Just what it means to kind of get that off your chest and know where you're going.
I wasn't like super rushed to make a decision, but I just knew it was the place I wanted to be. So I figured I'd make that decision when not really prolong and not waste anyone else's more time. But I'm super pumped to go there. I'm really excited. They have a great coaching staff. I've been talking to them all season. Heard great things from Aaron, who obviously went there, our defense coach. But yeah, no, just a great program, winning program. They made it to the finals of their conference this year. So yeah, I'm super excited to go.
Was there a lot that went into the decision? Were you weighing multiple things and just kind of obviously destination, where it is, what they've done, how are the coaches? Just what is that like for a junior hockey player kind of taking those steps?
I'd say there's a lot that went into it. I'd say finances were a lot into it, the opportunity to play. I've never been too much of a location guy just because I've moved around so much. But like, yeah, I remember like seeing that it was a few degrees warmer on average. And I remember we had like a Monday, Tuesday where it was like pretty warm outside. I was like, man, I'd love to have this more often. So I figured that was a pretty good opportunity. But yeah, I'd say there's so many things that went into it. Probably the hardest decision of my hockey career. But I just feel like my heart was there. So that's where I had to go with.
Is it difficult as a player making those choices? Obviously, you have parents and family and coaches and everyone else that is helping you choose the right path. But is there times where it kind of seems overwhelming as just a young kid?
Yeah, I'd say especially like my parents, the most supportive parents ever. They left it all to me. They said just wherever you want to go, we'll try to figure it out. And so yeah, like there was times where it's like talking to all these schools, and I was like, I had no idea where I wanted to go. But then once I toured Stevenson, when we played Maryland, I just knew that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah, 100%. Do we know what we're taking in school yet? Obviously, it's academic and athletics.
Yeah, I'd say right now. I'm looking at business administration with a finance track. Probably minor in entrepreneurship, and I want to take a lot of philosophy courses. I think that's really interesting. Love philosophy.
Is that something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, yeah. I love
Is that
that.
high school courses as well? Like
High school courses, yeah. I was thinking of maybe even some kinesiology, exercise science courses. Yeah. I've always been super interested in that. But yeah, for my major, I'm thinking business administration with finance track.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I'm sure it's, even if it wasn't a big weight, it's still good to have.
Yeah.
To know where that hockey career is going, and not only your hockey career, leading you into, of course, the rest of your life down the road.
Yeah.
Final 4 games for the Generals, right? The magic number now to make the playoffs is 4 points. You could win 2 games, do it yourself. You could win 1 game, have Johnstown lose a game, and you're going to be in. You're still fighting, trying to get a home ice playoff advantage in the play-in round. But just kind of the thoughts on Elmira coming in to the Canton Ice House. Team that's not technically mathematically eliminated yet, but 1 loss and they are. Just you haven't played them in a while since Christmas. What do you remember from the Aviators?
I remember they're a very volatile team. They're really high and really low. So and we can't take them lightly. Whenever we've lost to them, it's when we've taken them lightly. So if we stick to our game, play a full 60, then we'll win those games. But we can't take them for granted at all. They're a good team. They got a couple of guys. They got one of my friends from back home's on there. He's on an absolute heater right now. So they're making a push.
Yeah, no, 100%. 4 games remaining. If we just go back to the Saturday game as well, and I was kind of talking about this, does it feel different winning the first game and losing the second game as it does vice versa, losing the first game, winning the second game, to kind of bring a positive trajectory into your final 4 games all at home now, knowing you don't have to go back on the road?
I'd say winning the second game versus the first game, they both feel awesome, but we'd definitely much rather, if we have to go 1-1, we're going to try and win the Saturday game just to build momentum into the following week for sure.
Are you dual citizenship? Like, am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You're Canadian and American?
Yeah.
So who are you cheering for in the gold medal game?
Always Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I was just making sure. I didn't know where you're going to go with that.
Yeah.
Did the guys give you a hard time?
Oh yeah, such a hard time. Always.
You and Cole?
Yeah. Even like when we're talking about the weather, talking in Celsius, like they always give me a hard time because I just don't really know what Fahrenheit is too much. But whenever we're talking about anything Canadian wise, they're always giving me a hard time.
Yeah, the phone's on Celsius for me as well.
Yeah.
Is the map on kilometers?
Yeah. Yep.
It is.
Yeah.
It is good. Yeah, me too. Got to look at the tiny numbers in the car for the miles. Yeah. Awesome, man. Great season. Congrats on the 2 goals. I know you don't really care about it, but still, you got them now. You set your career high, or matched your career high from last year. Yep. Congrats on the commitment and best of luck with these final 4 games.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, big thanks to Jackson Rutherford for joining us once again. Big congratulations on the commitment to Stevenson University, NCAA Division III. I think that makes 8 now for the I don't want to leave anyone out, but I believe it is 8 post-secondary commitments for the Northeast Generals, with I'm certain a few more going to trickle in down the final weeks of the regular season and into the playoffs. But big thanks for him to joining us. 2 goals now on the year. And looking for more on that continued success in Elmira. Let's take a look now, just as we wrap up the show. We said we were going to look at the schedules, the remaining games for 5 teams that are near the Generals, including the Generals. But first, let's go to the standings as just the teams around them. So the New Jersey Titans, thing about them is they've played more games than both Maine and the Generals. So if they can take advantage of that, Maine can then leapfrog New Jersey, and the Northeast Generals can get back within 3 points. Danbury Hat-Tricks, they're only concerned, well, a little bit about New Hampshire, but they're only concerned about the Johnstown Tomahawks. And, there's reason for argument that saying maybe Johnstown is in a better position than Danbury to get that final spot. And we'll show you why. It is the New Hampshire Mountain Kings. We don't have their remaining games, but they can actually only get to 60 points. So they can't even clear the Northeast Generals. The only team they can catch is Danbury. If they win out, they get to 60. Danbury then needs to get 3 points to at least cover that. If they have the tiebreaker, 4 points to guarantee it, and worry about Johnstown as well. Philadelphia is actually mathematically eliminated now. The most they can get to is 56. So we talked about it in the first segment, but they are mathematically eliminated. Elmira is not, but they're 1 loss or 1 win away from Danbury from being mathematically out as well. So let's take a look at Jersey first, since they are the highest seed of the teams we want to look at. The New Jersey Titans, and this game is absolutely huge. They have the Danbury Hat-Tricks. This is tonight. This is taking place tonight, so we'll find out if Danbury is going to be 1 point behind the Generals, although having played 2 more games. Danbury's played 56 games right now. Same with New Jersey. So those teams only have 3 games remaining. Others teams will have 4 games remaining. And then they wrap it up against New Hampshire. So New Hampshire actually has one of the more interesting schedules. New Hampshire will play a couple games against Johnstown, but we'll get to that in the Johnstown segment. This is New Jersey, Danbury tonight, and then 2 games against New Hampshire, who, at this weekend, a loss on Friday could be mathematically eliminated to New Jersey. But this team Generals are trying to catch is the New Jersey Titans, 5 points up currently, and they got Danbury and then a pair against New Hampshire. The Maine Nordiques have teams, well, below them in the standings. Philadelphia, a mathematically eliminated team, so Maine's going to try to take advantage of that. Obviously, Philly still playing for pride, playing for jobs next year, but might, be tough to beat Maine on both nights, a team that really wants to lock up home ice advantage in the play-in round, knowing that they're not going to catch the Rochester Junior Americans now. They want to have those home playoff games. And the final games of the season, depending on what happens this weekend, this could 100% or will 100% submit who is going to be probably at home in 4th and in 5th if you consider that Jersey, if you think they're going to stay in 3rd place. So 2 games to wrap up the year. Those will be absolutely huge. The Maine Nordiques and the Northeast Generals first weekend in April. So obviously we saw the Generals, but we know what's going to happen for them. 2 games at home against Elmira. That's this Friday, this Saturday, and then those 2 games against Maine. So if Maine wins both against Philadelphia and if the Generals beat Elmira in both games, there'll be a 4-point gap between the Gens and the Nordiques, with 4 points on the line in that final weekend set. So it's pretty much going to come down to the last game of the regular season to not only know probably if the Generals are at home, but potentially to figure out who they're even going to play on the road. It's going to come down to game 59. The Danbury Hat-Tricks is currently occupying the final spot in the playoffs, but look at this. It is a very difficult go for Danbury, which then shows how important maybe that Saturday game was for them, that the Generals beat them 6-2, because they'll play New Jersey tonight. Say they lose that game. Now they're only 3 points up on Johnstown with 2 games left against the best team in potentially the North American Hockey League, but the best team in the East Division. And Johnstown has a game in hand. Yes, you also could say that maybe Maryland, in their final 2 games, will rest some of their stars, giving Danbury a little bit of an edge. Very well could be possible, but that's all in the future and undetermined. Maybe Maryland wants to play everyone so they're all in stride and that chemistry is strong going in. It'd be a long time to sit because they have the first round bye as well. So maybe they do play them. Really, really tough remaining schedule for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. And then the final team, this is why we talk about Johnstown and do they have the edge? Because they have 2 games against the New Hampshire Mountain Kings, and the Mountain Kings are playing for their lives as well, and they've been playing out of their minds as well, beating Maine 5 straight times, a victory against Johnstown after that. But this will be the 3rd and the 4th straight game between Johnstown and New Hampshire, and it will really decide which team has the higher chance to catch Danbury. If they split, it's not really great for either team. One of them needs to go out and win both games. And then Johnstown, again, if they beat New Hampshire in both games, they're playing a team that's mathematically eliminated. It's teams below them in the standings, teams that they're probably expected to beat. Obviously, the parity in the North American Hockey League is fantastic, but this is why Johnstown might be able to get past Danbury in that final spot. They have the extra game, too, so if they win their extra game, they're only 1 point back of Danbury. They need to win 1 more game than Danbury in their final 3 then. And Johnstown has New Hampshire, Philly, Philly. Danbury has New Jersey, Maryland, Maryland. So, there is some argument that saying Johnstown might have the edge, although they're 3 points back right now. That is the upcoming games. Obviously, the standings, as we'll bring it back into the headquarters for you. And we will wrap up the show with that. So the Northeast Generals, split the weekend, but did it the right way. You wouldn't want to win on Friday and lose on Saturday. It's better to maybe lose on Friday, win on Saturday, and now you can build off that success as you head back home to the final 4 games. Big thanks to Jackson Rutherford. We know what's coming up. It's at the Canton Ice House Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. puck drop. We'll be honoring one of our youth teams as well that won their championship on Friday night. And then coming up the following weekend, we'll have a show, of course, after the Elmira series, but we'll be honoring all of our graduating players, our age-out players, on the game on Saturday, April 4th. So just wanted to give you a heads up for that taking place in the Canton Ice House, the final game of the regular season for all 10 of the Northeast Generals graduating players. So for everyone watching this show, thank you for watching all season long. 1 more episode, and we're up to double digits of this season. Generals, 4 games remaining, their magic number to make the playoffs. is for, and they'll try to accomplish that this weekend in Elmira. You have been informed. This is your debrief. See you guys.